So, good morning, teacher. This morning I will talk about a little bit what was the Cold War. So, first of all, what is the Cold War? Do you remember the period between the First World War and the Second World War II? That is named the Interwar. That was basically a period of time that was a political hesitation. Also, everyone was worried about what would happen. Well, that was basically what happened in the Cold War. The Cold War started at the end of the Second World War II, and it ended almost close to the new century. How old was this Cold War? Okay, people call them, or nowadays we call them Cold War, but it's not necessarily a war. For example, this period of time was between United States and the years now known as Russia. And what happened? That was basically they wanted to show they were the super countries, right? But at the same time, they cannot start a war because now everything will be more hard because now they have the atomic bombs and other things, right? Other heavy weapons. And what will happen? These countries try to show them to the other that they were the great one. And basically, they do not have a war between them, but at the same time, they were in a war. They were in a proxy wars. How am I with this? Well, the most great example of this is when in El Salvador there was a civil war. And what happened with the civil war? In the civil war in El Salvador, the government was supported by the USA government, and for the resistance, the FMLN was supported by the US. They were supplied like weapons, armies, and some things like that. And this happened not only in El Salvador, it happens in a lot of countries in Europe and also in Africa. And that was basically the way that they showed the war, but at the same time they weren't in a war. And at the end, basically United States won because the US basically fall down in 1986, if I'm not mistaken, and that was basically the end of the Cold War. With this, we can say that between this time of period, there were like spies between the countries. Also, the political tension was very hard, and everything was like, if this country do a movement, a third war will start. So this period of time was kind of difficult because this tension between everyone, and they didn't know what would happen the next day. For example, imagine today we're in the 80s, and today is everything okay, and tomorrow is a third war.